Hey everybody, welcome to the Rental Rewind after show Ranting Rewind. I am your host, Dan Perry, and with me today I have two special guests that were former contestants on the show, and they are going to discuss how it changed their lives, how it made them better people, improved their personal relationships, all those kinds of things that we know that Rental Rewind did. So first up we have Matt
Water with the power of rewind. Yeah.
The Power of Rewind. It sounds like a self-help book, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
That's good. And we have Steve.
Hello.
Good. All right. This is going to be fun. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight, Steve. So I stole that from David Letterman. He okay. So anyways,
Good man to steal from.
Good man to steal from.
I'm watching so much Conan O'Brien's podcast right now, and they're always talking about Letterman being the guy.
Because he's hilarious.
He was
the
the god. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, you should probably go watch that podcast instead. But if you're still here, you can hang out and chat with us. We're going to be chatting about nostalgia and video games. So which one of you two won? Remind us who won the game.
Matt did.
Matt won.
Yeah.
And so how has that changed you or affected you?
You know what? It was actually super fun. And I don't know. I mean, like being able to participate in a game show from home as well was interesting. I'm here live for a podcast, but I could participate from the comfort of my own home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of rumors that you were pretty nervous coming up to that match.
I was. And then I heard that you picked a game because, you know, if you don't know, people, they ask us to pick some games we like. And you picked a game that I played. So I felt better about that, which was Counter-Strike. I played some Counter-Strike. Although it didn't help me in the end because I didn't know the answer to the question.
So how did you end up winning then? What was it? Was it just his deficit of knowledge?
I had too many Donkey Kong Country questions.
Right.
And I didn't own a 64, so it didn't work very well.
So do you mean Donkey Kong Country that came out on the Super Nintendo?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. So have you ever owned a Nintendo product?
Yeah, I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And a
No
Game Boy.
N64?
No N64.
Oh, wow.
So what happened at that point?
I shifted over to PlayStation.
Oh,
Got really into Gran Turismo.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Final Fantasies.
Fair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you, Matt? What was your first console?
I'm worried I told this, so I'll tell it really quickly. Like my dad brought, like we rented an NES, just the regular NES,
Right.
with RoboCop, the
Okay.
RoboCop side scroller, which seemed amazing at the time.
Right.
That was the first one. I don't think we ever owned one. Yeah, we did eventually, but the Super Nintendo was the more, I don't know, it was more the staple in my childhood. Mortal Kombat. Somebody broke into our house and stole our Super Nintendo, which was like devastating.
That is devastating.
Like as a child, that was like such a loss. It was so confusing. It was a good lesson, but it was
Wait, what's the lesson?
Well,
What have you learned?
that the world's a cruel place.
Oh, okay.
I suppose, yeah.
Well, that's one thing we've learned today.
Yeah. So Super Nintendo, actually, I lived so close to my elementary school. I would bring friends home during lunch break, and we would play Mortal Kombat in this little nook that I had to play Super Nintendo. Yeah. So
That sounds like the dream.
it was great. SimCity on Super Nintendo for some reason was there were only 3 slots to save cities.
That's right.
And you would like share the cartridge, and like people would kill your city and to make room for them. You destroyed my city.
SimCity, that was a good one. I forgot about SimCity.
Yeah, on Super Nintendo. There's a Super Nintendo there, right?
There is, yeah. We're not gonna reference it though because
Right.
we don't want Nintendo to get mad at us, I guess.
Right, yeah.
for
We're just
pointing out
revering them better.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about earliest memories then. So you've kind of mentioned coming home, you're hanging out with your friends, you're playing Mortal Kombat. So you said Mortal Kombat?
It was Mortal Kombat.
And
Yeah, I don't know which
SimCity?
one. Yeah.
What about you, Steve? What was your earliest experience that you remember?
Earliest memories for Nintendo, being homesick with chicken pox and mom renting for the 7-day rental from the local rental place.
Mm-hmm.
Then it came in a big padded case. You got the NES, the controllers, the power block, all the little funky hookups and everything, and then 10 games. And it was just pure bliss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what all the games were. It was a great week.
Did you have any people that you looked up to in your life? Was there anyone that was like the video game player that you were like, I want to be like that guy?
Yeah, he let me down. I remember watching. It was The Wiz, right?
The Wizard, yeah.
The Wizard.
Yeah.
With Fred
And
Savage.
thinking that the Power Glove was going to be this awesome invention.
What a disappointment.
And then
No
I
doubt.
got it. And then
You got the Power Glove?
I got the
Wow.
Power Glove. And then you rent Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And then this is how you play.
No, no, really? That's such a downer.
But then it's constantly measuring your things, and you're just like flicking your character, and it was awful.
Huh.
Unplayable. 0 out of 10.
It looks so cool, but yeah, it doesn't sound right.
But it did lay the groundwork for the Wii, wouldn't you say? Like, this is how Nintendo does things, is they take some big swings.
Yeah. I could say that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess my complaint about the Wii though too is that like I grew up and it's like you're playing Mario Kart or F-Zero or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sitting there with the controller, and then your 5-year-old cousin comes over, picks up the controller, and it's just rotating the whole controller, thinking it's doing something. You're like, no, it's not doing anything. Stop that. And then now it's like I can't play modern day Mario Kart because I have it ingrained in me that I can't move the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons sit still when I play. I can't do it.
So wait.
It's a me problem.
So wait, why can't you do it? I'm confused here. Can you?
It's just ingrained in me. I can't. It's because it was.
What is ingrained in you?
It was
exactly?
wasted energy to move the controllers to play the game.
You must only move thumbs.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
This is why you're so efficient.
Yeah.
Is this something that came from being in the military? Because you're a former military guy, right?
I mean, all I did in the military was drink pretty well. So
You heard it here first, folks. Okay, so, and it was also mentioned that you actually carried a gun. There was a specific gun that Tare mentioned.
yeah. The question was, what was the most expensive purchase in Counter-Strike Source? And I thought it was the AWE, the Op. I was wrong.
I was sure you were right when you said that too.
It was the M249 SAW because it's a US game in Canada and the Canadian infantry. I carried the C9, which is the Canadian variation of the M249.
And you mentioned that on the game.
Did.
Yeah. Didn't earn you the points though.
No,
like
it gave me nothing.
you still lost.
I did.
Yeah.
But you talking about
Thank you for your service.
You talking about the Power Glove? Yeah, true. Yes, you talking about the Power Glove and the way Nintendo sort of advances, and talking about guns. Going to the regular Nintendo, the NES, I still to this day don't know, and maybe there's somebody in this room who knows, and maybe you know. How did Duck Hunt work? How did that gun?
Duck Hunt won't work with modern TVs, right?
No, I've heard that, but like, how did it know where I'm pointing when I'm shooting?
I think it had a sensor and it interacted something with the tubes.
It's just shooting light and it's bouncing off the glass from the television. It's got to come back into the gun, so it registers where you've. It's just like a little.
But you could get like super close and do it too.
Yeah, light. Ding, ding.
But wouldn't it bounce off that way? Like, wouldn't it?
I don't know, man. It's magic, I guess.
Anyway,
Nobody
now,
knows.
Now we can play
Magnets.
tennis.
How do they
Yeah,
work?
now we can play tennis, but you can't play Duck Hunt.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you see video games going then in the future, Matt? Like if this is like, let's think like 20 years in the future, where do you see them?
You know, that's a tough question because I mean, I think it's been a while now that VR's here and headsets are here and XR and all of these certain, all these little problems came up. Like if you're a character of a certain height, well, it feels weird because I'm much taller than that character, or, I see my hands and that's not the skin color. Like there are so many things little problems that needed solving. And then it seemed like none of that happened. And I was sure that those problems would get solved fairly quickly. I thought there were, rooms of people at Sony and Warner and Netflix, everybody's working on VR and trying to make it work. And then it sort of seemed to fizzle out. So I don't really know.
There's a big problem with hyper realism in VR,
right?
Because it's still not real enough. So your eyes look at it and it just looks creepy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why a lot of VR has gone more onto the cartoony side now.
Right. Yeah.
But do you need it to look realistic? Because just walking around in my everyday meat form is kind of like living the virtual reality simulator of Dan's life. What, wouldn't I want something that's more out there and crazy?
It's got to be an escape. So yeah, I think I want it to be out there and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
So you wouldn't want to like go on a date, say, and just like be sitting having a picnic, but it's a VR date. You wouldn't want that.
Probably not.
No.
Well, who's the date with? Is it with you?
Sure. Let's say it is.
Mark Zuckerberg.
No.
I almost had him though. He was almost interested.
Yeah, you were in.
Yeah, okay. Because let's think about arcades then. So I'm thinking about like the evolution of arcades now, like a Dave and Buster's, or this idea like a barcade where people want to go have some drinks, hang out. Do you think VR has a place there?
It's a really good question. I don't know.
I only ask the good ones.
Yeah, I feel like yes, but I can't see how it logistically works yet.
Yeah, and you see a lot of VR places pop up here and there, and it's there for a few months, and then it's gone again, and then there's a new one there, and they've got a few different games. I'd like to see it succeed. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's ready.
Yeah.
What about augmented reality? So we're wearing like a visor or something, looking through our glasses. Have like Google Glass was around for a little bit there, and then I feel like they pulled it off the market because they realized that you could use this to like document people without their knowledge and film them, and I think they saw some major problems there.
Yeah. I just recently heard that there's going to be a new iteration coming though, and I have a, what are they called, the Ray-Ban stories. Yeah, thank you. And there's a little light when you're recording. So I mean, I don't know if anybody knows that being recorded, just if there's a little, it's not even a red light, which is sort of the universal, like you're being recorded. But
what color light is it?
It's like white or like,
Okay.
Sort of.
So you have these now.
Yeah.
They hook up to your phone.
Yeah, you gotta get an app and get in,
and it's
connect,
downloading the video.
Yeah.
And what is this for people to go and yell at Costco employees while they're wearing them and document their experience?
Pretty sure it's for Karens who are like really first person Karening.
First person Karening.
No, I think the idea is that you're gonna take them and like jump off, like slide down a water slide and do a flip, and what does that look like? And
I wonder if people will like do this and then realize that their life is just them kind of sitting around most of the time.
This is the problem. Yeah.
I take my glasses off when I go down the water slide.
Good point. Yeah. The new version does live stream. I remember last time we were podcasting, we were wondering, there's got to be a way to live stream, and now there is a version that.
That's very cool tech. Like,
it's
that's
interesting,
really neat.
but you're right. It's hard to know, like, what is the application here? Like, how does this really, integrate well? And
is it a solution in search of a problem?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Cool. I'm thinking about sort of like, have you read Ready Player One or anything like that?
I have.
Haptic suits. Oh, that's fantastic read. I wouldn't watch the movie. I mean, the movie's fine.
The movie's fine. It's just it deviates a lot.
Yeah, but in terms of nostalgia, which is really what Rental Rewind is all about. I mean, Ready Player One is really about nostalgia, and Ernest Cline, who wrote it, is like deep into like nerdery, like I would just call it that, because he's so knowledgeable about music and video games and movies and all this stuff, and it's a really fun read. And Will Wheaton does the audiobook too, so if you want to listen to it. I
love a good audiobook.
Yeah. So but in Ready Player One, he's got like haptic suits, and they go into like this internet world called the Oasis, where people just kind of escape into that. And so do you see technology doing that for us? Is that kind of where we're headed?
Is this a plug for the metaverse? Because I don't think that worked.
Well, it's still kind of happening, isn't it?
I don't know.
The metaverse, is it falling apart?
Have either of you jumped into the?
No,
I have not.
I went one time. I was like, I have to see, and it is boring, and there's not a lot going on, and there's people, I don't know what the values are, but they're buying and selling land in the metaverse, which is a little bit weird. And yeah, it's there's a YouTuber who's actually from Calgary who did a long video essay on it saying, I think the title is the metaverse is a dead mall. And he's right. That's exactly how it feels sort of when you're in there. You don't really bump into other people. I expected it to sort of be like a Second Life experience. Yeah. But it really was not that, at least not for me. So having said that,
eerie.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Having said that, though, I think the answer is 100% yes. We are going to live in that environment. There is going to be a Ready Player One type Oasis environment that we plug into. It's just further away than I think we all assume.
Okay,
but I think it's totally inevitable. It's just a matter of solving those little problems we were talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. it's hard to force culture, and I think that's the thing the metaverse is missing. The Oasis was full of culture. It was blossoming with different activities and different cultures and everything interacting together. The metaverse is, the empty mall is a good analogy to it.
Mm. You have to build the shell though for people to want to come,
For sure.
right?
There is this,
But there has to be something there for them to stay.
Mm.
totally. Yeah. It's a great point. And to that end, there have been like events, like I feel like trying to remember the brands that have been involved, but or like celebrities have had like these events in the metaverse. And then it's like, from what I've seen, it's like, yeah, there's an event and there's like hundreds of people there, and then it sort of fizzles out and leave. Yeah. There's got to be something to keep you there.
So if you look at like an MMO,
Yes.
that wasn't something we got into in the show at all because it's a little bit newer, I guess.
Yeah.
But the MMO has that kind of urge to go back, and it's like you're wanting to play all the time and go back and do these activities. It needs to be a cross between that, and I think in Ready Player One, the Oasis, it was a giant MMO. It was a giant multiplayer environment, and there was activities, there was currency, there was intrigue. And
So what if Metaverse Zuckerberg buys Fortnite and just makes that, like, do you think that would pull people in? Because Fortnite is a massive game that people go back to.
that would pull in a certain demographic.
Yeah.
It wouldn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like a multi-pronged approach where you're pulling in Fortnite and you're pulling in another first-person shooter, and you're pulling in like a puzzle game, and you're pulling in like, and it's just a whole bunch. It's
I
a
want a
virtual
VR
arcade.
as the L block in Tetris kind of thing.
I want a big arcade.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, it sounds like the Oasis, and I'll admit I watched Ready Player One, but I'm ashamed to say I sort of half watched it because my phone was there. But that idea of like just being able to jump into an environment and like, oh, we can go skateboarding, Tony Hawk style, or we can go wave racing, or we can, deliver some papers, or like the ability to just jump into whatever activity you
Let's go
want.
deliver papers. You can have an actual job.
It's more fun than you
30
think.
years ago doing that.
Hey, you need currency in these environments.
It's true. That's true.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You're either swiping the credit card or you're delivering papers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just mentioned Wave Racer, and I
loved
Wave Race
Racer.
64.
and that was like, it wasn't that an interesting, for me, it was like, every console seems to have its like release titles.
Yep.
And yeah, like Mario Kart and Mario 64, that was cool. And it's like, whoa, okay, there's a whole different, like, we've got this 360 environment rather than like side scrolling. But Wave Racer was a totally different understanding of what video games could be. And it wasn't a particularly good game. It was just a good example of what the console was capable
It was the
of.
physics of the water
Yes.
that blew my mind. You're just
Unbelievable.
like the whole thing. And it was like, prior to that, water in video games in my mind was like at the bottom of
You go in it
Super
and you
Mario Land.
die.
If I touch water, I'm dead.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Or else sometimes in some Mario levels you can swim for some reason. We're not sure why.
Yeah.
But it totally changed the game. I agree with that.
And it was like I say, like, I don't think it was a particularly good game. I remember enjoying like the racing, but it was like, whoa, this is a totally different like way to play. Like, it just opened up new possibilities for what gaming could be. Yeah.
And they could make that game today and it would be mind blowing. I think. Like, I think it would be really good.
Yeah.
So Dan, has there been any games since then that's kind of piqued that curiosity?
That's blown my mind.
Yeah.
Well, that was the graphics. I think, let's see. I have a Switch right now, and I have a Switch because I'm now a dad and I have a wife, and like the games they're not graphically interesting. Like, they look like cartoons and my kids love it. And so I really appreciate that. So I don't even know that I go to a game for its graphics as much as the gameplay. And I had mentioned on a previous episode of the podcast, like Among Us looks like a Peppa Pig drawing, but it's incredibly popular. And I think gameplay over the look of things is so much more important, right? What is that feeling when you're engaging with it?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the last game that actually blew my mind is. I can't think of one. Did you have one in mind? Was there something that popped into your mind there?
I was asking the questions.
No, I know. I know. You turn the tables there. Okay. Let me dig deep. Let me go back. Let me try to think here. There's got to be something that I was like, this is mind blowing. Do you know what the game that I've really loved is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge on the Switch.
On the Switch? Oh, okay.
This is a throwback to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which was an arcade game where you could play as all 4 turtles.
Okay.
But now you can play, I think it's like 6 or 8 people simultaneously.
Oh.
And it's got a whole new story, but it's got like the same animation style.
And it's still like a side scroller?
And it's a side scrolling shmup. Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
Smash them up. They were all just bashing each other around. It's amazing. It's really, really fun.
Loved that arcade game. Like like there was a Red Robin's in Edmonton that we would go to just so we could play that game.
Yeah. So that's the game most recently that I've been like, oh, this is fun. It scratches that nostalgia itch, but it's also something new.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I guess recent games like Diablo 4, at launch, I loved it. It was great. The cinematics in it, Blizzard always does a fantastic job. Enjoying those.
They're an Edmonton-based company, right? Blizzard?
No,
did I make that up?
BioWare.
Oh, BioWare.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like playing through the campaign, there was like a 9-minute cinematic partway through or near the end, and it was just it was great. It died off pretty quick.
Yeah.
Player base definitely died because there wasn't that thing pulling people back.
Right.
There's no real reason to keep going back.
I think, so God of War, now that we're kind of talking, that was kind of another game that blew my mind because it had that combination of fun cinematics. It's cartoony looking like the first God of War game, but it's also like incredibly violent and really fun to play. Like it had so many hooks in there.
I haven't played it. I got to try it. Yeah. It looks amazing.
You got to play it.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Well, it reminds me of that video games video by Tenacious D because he mentions it in it. Have you seen this? Have you not seen this video?
No, I haven't seen this.
Oh, Jack Black singing about how he doesn't play video games except a little God of War and a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 and like he names a ton of games that he has to play.
Right.
But it reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I only just finished, last year for the first time, my first playthrough.
Thoughts?
And that is an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
From a storytelling perspective, I love when like a really great narrative meets a really great, playable, like just like, there are those moments. I remember listening to who's the creator of Last of Us, whoever that guy is, was talking about how how they would grind to create these moments of like, oh, that's fun. That was a fun moment killing that zombie or whatever. Now we have to recreate that in the game hundreds of times. And so I think Red Dead does that really well. There are lots of little mechanics throughout the world that are just built in really beautifully and subtly. And the environment's amazing. And so I think that's an amazing game.
I think we are going to wrap it up.
Wait. I didn't realize we started. Is Tara not coming? What's going on?
No, it's just me. Sorry.
I thought we were going to get Tara.
Yeah.
I was told Tara was going to be here.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you guys.
No. This has been great. This has been awesome.
Well, I've had a good time.
Me too.
I can't speak for Steve. But is there anything you guys want to plug? Is there anything you have coming up? Are you streaming anywhere? Where can we find out about you? Could we let a dog in?
Is this Tara? Oh, no.
No, this is a dog. There's a dog just wandering in.
Hello.
I love it.
You?
Hey,
Yes,
look,
hello.
there's a dog in the studio.
Hi. Yes, I have a dog too. You smell it?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Okay, welcome to the show. Tara the dog.
Tara the dog.
All right. It's just you're stepping on my cord there, buddy.
Okay. Go on.
Without hitting the camera. Oh, that's the wrong way.
Amazing.
You're kind
I
of trapped
love
now. Oh,
him.
there you
Look
go.
at
All
him. Dogs are the
You're
best.
just going to hang out back there.
Okay, so tell us what you're up to. Where can we find you and find out about you?
Please, because I think you do such great work with what you do. I want to hear where can people find out more?
I do all my, I like making things, all sorts, whether it's metal, wood, get into circuits recently. Awards, leather products. I just like working with my hands, making things, making shiny things for people to enjoy. I have Instagram, Knoxbox Designs, and
Knoxbox Designs. Love it.
Amazing, yeah. Is there not some of your work around us as well?
Well, I cut out the surrounds for the TVs.
Nice,
The sign.
Yeah, the Rental Rewind.
Yeah.
So I'm a filmmaker, and so I've got a film on Amazon Prime that I would love it if you could watch, because they want to delete it at any second, I'm sure. So every play counts.
Okay.
We were really dumb, and we thought a play on words in plain view was a cool idea. Unfortunately, not when you're searching. So be sure to search in space plain view, 2 words, not 3 words. If
Okay.
you search in plain space view, you will not find it. So
Okay.
don't be try to be clever with your
In
titles.
plain view, PLAIN.
Yes.
VIEW.
Correct.
In plain
yes,
view.
yes.
In plain view. This is the spelling bee portion
So,
of the show.
so plain view is the name of the.
It's the name of the town where
town.
it
So
exists.
we're in
yes.
plain view.
A double entendre.
I
as
get
they
it
say,
now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Matt Waterworth. And I am, trying to make films happen. And I'm kind of a community builder. I'm trying to get the film community a little more active. So I also have a broadcast channel on Instagram, which is a weird thing to promote. I don't know, but if you're interested in news about the Alberta film industry, things like StoryHive, I share the news of what's going on my little broadcast channel called AB Film TV Updates.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We're glad that Rental Rewind could change you for the better.
Me too.
Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us as well. My name is Dan Perry again, and this has been the Rental Rewind After Show Ranting Rewind, and we will see you again soon. Take care.
There's very little ranting in this episode.